Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. As you know, today we are doing a art collab stream with artist David Harper. How about you tell us about yourself, David Harper?
Do art on the internet. I do like tabletop adjacent stuff. I have a series of shorts where I play Dungeons and Dragons with my comment section across TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And I also have a Dungeons and Dragons inspired series called Treasure Takers that comes out much less often.
That's awesome. What we're going to be doing today is a art challenge. Each of us is going to be describing a video game character that the other has never seen. And then we're going to attempt to draw these characters that we've never seen before from their descriptions alone. Very challenging. Let's see if it ends up being close at all. Be sure to comment your guesses into the chat. I suppose without further ado, David, would you like to read the description for the video game character I am to draw?
Your description is
Snooter said, be sure to
a
check out
young
David Harper's
woman,
Robin Goblin series.
blonde, with blue lipstick. Her hair is short and hangs over in the front just above the top of her eyes. She also wears a large collar shaped like a thick disc. The disc is yellow and reaches to just before the curve of her shoulders lengthwise. It has a zipper-looking ring at its bottom that runs horizontally all the way around. The corners of a rectangular object that is also yellow can be seen peeking out from behind her on either side, just beyond her shoulders.
Mischief Horn just
She wears a
redeemed
blue
follow Ida
jumpsuit
Snoot.
that cuts off
For 5
mid-thigh
points.
on each leg and just above
Mischief Horn
the
just
chest.
redeemed Hail Hydrate.
The sleeves have thick yellow cuffs around the top and bottom portions, and the sleeves themselves widen towards the bottom. There are 2 white stripes on each sleeve, just below the top cuffs. The top stripe is thin, the bottom stripe is thick. Peeking out from under these sleeves are smaller golden colored sleeves that end just around her knuckles. She wears skates on her feet with 2 thick rims, one at the top, where the foot's going in, and then one slightly below that.
So the character, I was thinking, since David's so good at proportions, I want to see what happens if I give him a character whose proportions are completely wrong. So here's the description for the character I am having David draw. The first thing you may notice about this pale, slender Chilean woman is her proportions. Her legs are unnervingly lengthy, and her stained, blackened feet stand digitigrade like some kind of dinosaur. Her neck is just barely too long to be that of a human, and her head bobs and swivels in jerky motions like that of a bird, until her jet-black beady eyes lock onto you. What's left of her arms resembles more of a wingspan than actual human limbs. Speaking of which, her hands and tongue are gone. I do not mean she never had them. I mean they have clearly been removed. Recently. In place of them, there is a black, inky substance leaking out of her mouth and from the wounds where her hands once stood, and the smell of paint permeates the air. Where this viscous substance oozes from her wrists, it shapes itself into new appendages that resemble something between a wing or a hand. Whatever they are, they look very sharp and move as if alive, maliciously reforming themselves as needed. She is wearing an expensive red dress, but it is torn and damaged extensively, as if she has been attacked. The hips of the dress have an elegant black feather design, and around her neck is a giant black necklace, which resembles sleek black feathers draped down her chest. Do you know who she is? If you do, comment your guesses in the chat. So, what do we think about that character?
Personally, Sounds like I stereotyping. It sounds like it's from a horror thing, but it could also very easily be a Dark Souls thing.
We shall see. So those are the hints. It is either from a horror franchise or it is from Dark Souls. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, I guess I'm going to ask you, is there a body type I should be doing for this?
Uh,
Or should I just wing it?
Honestly, the body type's not very extreme, so if you wing it, you're probably not going to be too far off.
Okay, fair enough. These challenges always remind me how slow I am, how I need to work on drawing faster.
Coco said, "Do we get hints as the stream progresses?"
Absolutely, you get hints.
Coco for Coco Pick said, "And this is a video game character."
Yes, these are both video game characters. Okay, so which character do you think you know the identity of, Coco?
Zon Stony Gazer said, is it a killer clown from outer space?
I'm afraid not. It is not a killer clown from outer space. And at least I presume that the character that David gave me is not a killer clown from outer space. Is that correct?
No, they are not.
Coco for Cocopic said,
Though Killer
the one
Clown
you're
is
drawing.
Stonegazer's guess. Is it not Coco who said that they believe they know?
Yeah, but Coco is giving other people a chance to guess.
How sportsmanlike.
Uh-huh, very sports. But yes, we have someone who thinks they know what it is. For one of them, let's go over to the one that David is working on and look at it again. Do we have any ideas on who this character could be? The sleeves have yellow cuffs around the top and bottom. Wait, but if it cuts off at the chest, how are there also sleeves?
This is a question that I myself wondered.
Okay.
There may be some
Coco
artistic.
for
It is a video
Cocopic
game.
said,
There may be some
I
artistic
think the one
representation going
David
on.
is doing is not a Nintendo
Is the only defense I
branded
have
character.
in this case.
Zon Stony Gazer said, the one on the right looks like a harpy.
That is a good guess, Zan. It does kind of look like a harpy. I bet that the design was based on some of that kind of mythology. But this kind of... Okay, I'll throw out one guess. This character design kind of reminds me of Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
You know, it's kind of interesting that you say that, but interesting to me. I kind of feel what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay, the other character I was thinking this sounds like is the protagonist of, I've never played this game, but I saw it all the time back in the day. The World Ends With You.
Right, I also feel that.
For sure. Well, because of the color description, some peeps might think it's, Goat Lady from Atlas. Oh my god, yeah, that is actually a very good point.
Jack Theligen Shoutman said, it could be Atlas.
What is her name? Angela. Her name's Angela. Okay. What does she have? Oh, she has a bell. She has a blue collar with a bell on it. Okay, yeah, I do see how this could kind of have those vibes. I mean, I didn't draw her very voluptuously, but from the description, you know, I could see how it kind of reads as Angela from Atlas. The hair has those irritating ribbon things that are super fluffing hard to draw in anime hair. Dang it, I cannot get this ellipse right. Did you take much time learning or studying ellipses while you were in art college?
No, it was kind of like a boot camp situation because it was one of those for-profit schools where they're like, we're gonna get you through super quickly. And so each class was really a race against time as teachers who were for the most part well-meaning were like, okay, I'm gonna try to condense what I have, but also give you hopefully a better than nothing like education, good as we can in 11 weeks, because 11 weeks were the amounts of time that we had, like per. They didn't have semesters, they had quarters. We didn't go that slow, and there wasn't like in depth shape training.
Dang, no in-depth shape training? That feels so important
No.
to leave out, you know?
They did their best with the time that they had. Also, I mean, I want to say in theory, you weren't supposed to be there if you were just starting to learn how to draw. In fact, I'm pretty sure like you weren't supposed to be there if you were like, I'm going from square one. Though there was one dude who was going from square like 0.5. Like, I'm not exactly sure what his story was. I got scraps and pieces. You could always tell his work because his work looked like way less.
Developed.
It didn't look as good as everybody else's. It didn't look as developed. It looked like someone who had only
Yes.
recently started drawing, which is fine, but everybody else who was there had not just started drawing. Even myself, who I considered not very good, I'd still been doing it for a while. So it's like, this is all right, man, for like where you're at, but like it's not great by comparison. I think that he had originally intended to be in the game design track and got shunted over to the animation track for reasons that I never heard and don't understand. So that may have been part of it.
That's fair. That's fair. What was the most important thing you did learn at your program?
Man, this is really hard to narrow down. I would say that despite it being a for-profit school and despite other all the baggage that comes with that, it is an experience that not only I found incredibly valuable, but single-handedly changed my life for the better. It just didn't make me
Wow.
any money, you know. But that's how it goes. Oh, it set you up with a good career and now you're making money? No, not at all. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. It is really important. Instead of circling the drain on, oh, I learned so much, I'm just going to pick the first thing that comes to my mind, and that is the value of resolving a piece. There was a teacher who once talked, the class wasn't all about this, but there was a point where there was a teacher talking about resolving a piece, which was basically getting it to the point where it is done, if not the way that you would like. And I think about that so often, resolving it,
Mm.
getting something up. I think if you wanted to be more business-like, you would talk about getting something to a shippable state, even though that's totally not the guy he was. But I think it more accurately portrays what I took away from it when you're in an entrenched project or whatever, or you're just starting to spin your wheels and you're losing energy. It's a good moment to try to resolve what you're doing and tie it up and then go, all right, here we are.
The truth is, I say something similar to people all the time, but they get mad at me when I say it. So, when I was a kid, bit of a story behind this, I used to watch the Star Wars special editions, the VHS box set, and I loved the heck out of these. And everyone is mad at me for loving the heck out of those special editions, because apparently we're not allowed to. But anyway, point is, during their little making of documentary at the beginning, so the most hated Star Wars media out there, and the most hated part of the most hated Star Wars media, the making of for the special editions. What they said was there's some famous filmmaker who once said, films are never completed, they are only abandoned. And I'm like, that's true with not just films, but, drawings, paintings, and all of that. There is always, and there will always be something you can do on your painting to make it better. You could spend the rest of your life finding improvements to fix with it and, like, be improving it forever. But then you'll only have one drawing, and I mean, for starters, you'll only have one drawing, and B, you won't be learning very well as you would have if you've been drawing new things each time. So it's like you have to choose at a certain point when it is time to abandon it. Another good phrase that you're told a lot in the art world is kill your darlings. A lot of people get attached to their darlings and aren't willing to release it until it's perfect. And that just isn't good for growth. It's not good for growth. And the things that you'll make later, because you abandoned your earlier projects, are going to be much better if you, learn to let go. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I thought that saying was a very common saying about art. Though I would like to also throw in there that I do think that another danger of working too long on something is I believe there's definitely a threshold wherein artists will ruin the thing that they are working on because you've messed with it too much. And I especially bring this up because you were talking about George Lucas.
Yeah, I'm just like, speaking of George Lucas.
I will not begrudge you your love of the special editions, but I will say that, he's pretty famous for messing with stuff after the fact.
Sometimes it's best to just let your darling die. It had a good life. Move on, create the next thing.
Well, killing your darling isn't the same as like knowing when to stop.
I suppose. What, in your opinion, would you say would be the differences?
I think of the difference being there's specific aspects of something that you want in there that don't work with it necessarily or like at all. It's like you see all the time in like documentaries about like games and the creation of games. Oh, there was this one feature that somebody really wanted in there, but it messed with the rest of it. But they thought it was so cool and they really wanted it. But like we didn't do it. Or maybe sometimes we did do it and it messed with everything just like we knew it would. I would call it like that. Sometimes you want things that mess with the overall picture and would drag it down. I
Uh,
want Treasure Takers to be about room by room dungeon crawling, but if I was like, oh, I want to do that, but
Coco for
I also want to
Cocopic
have checking a
said.
room to take
Hunt
10
time,
minutes because 10
BTW.
minutes are like the dungeon crawling rounds from like the classic
Hunt.
rules. That'd be so cool. If I was gung ho on that and I had another person on the project who was like, hey, that's really bad for pacing and entertainment.
Why
It's a really
is
bad
my
idea.
mobile
Don't do it.
keyboard
And I was like, but
auto-correcting
I
hint
really
to
like it
hunt?
though. I would call that a killing your darling situation. Hey, this one thing you're really into is going to throw everything else off or create new problems. Don't do it. It was already good enough when Han shot first. We don't need to go back. Well, what if he didn't, though? Well, what if he didn't shoot first and the other guy also said McClunky first? Like, it's like we're reaching overdevelopment territory. It's already good as it was. Don't worry about it. I'll buy the first bit about, well, I actually wanted him to give him an excuse to shoot him first. That sounds artistic enough. I'll buy that, but like, stop. It's okay. It's fine. Gotta move on.
That scene's just so fast that I couldn't even tell what was going on.
Like it definitely stands out once you've heard much more
How
once
die
you've heard
y'all?
someone complain about it.
Holy fluff, you are putting so much detail on those wings.
It's going to get much less, don't worry about it.
Seems fun and
Okay,
GL.
okay.
I mean, it depends on my time, but like the sketch is optimistic. The sketch is blue sky. We'll see how it actually turns out.
For real, for real. I mean, we are at an hour and a half, so we don't have all the time in the world.
In all honesty, I'd wanna do that too at some point if there's a community magma board.
Oh, that might be pretty fun. I might have to see what I can look into. The hint for the character that David is drawing that I described, she smells like paint. This character is, or I guess I should say, was an artist. A very prolific artist who had deep and meaningful art pieces that broached a bunch of controversial topics. So she was a very controversial artist. I dare say may have made some enemies. And she was from Chile. So a controversial artist from Chile made some enemies.
It's Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, clearly. So I'm going
Oh,
to...
maybe it's somebody from Dante's Inferno.
Oh, that was a fun game.
Maybe. I did not play it, but somebody I watched did like a huge video on it. A huge passionate video on it. I was like, that's pretty cool.
I totally played it and I totally loved it. It was kind of short, but God, it was just such a fun little romp, you know?
This person seems to agree, but also talks. They like analyze
2425
the game,
said,
but they also
I
talk
feel
about
bad
the
that
actual
these are
like
video
poem and
game
shit,
characters and I've
as well
not
as
been
some other
exposed to many
material.
obscure
It's very
/ big
cool.
name
If
games.
you're into that type of video, I can easily link you to it later. The YouTuber is someone called Mert KK.
It is your turn. You need to provide a hint for who this character is. Don't give it away, but don't make it too hard.
This character is from a cel-shaded skating game.
I'm so surprised to hear that. Definitely not like your favorite game of all time or anything. Okay.
Definitely not.
So a cel-shaded skating game. I wonder if the viewers could figure out who that is. I'm pretty sure I know what the game is. I'm pretty sure
I also wonder.
I'm pretty sure I knew what the game was like a week ago, but I don't know any characters from this game, so I will be completely unable to guess
Talking,
who this character is.
you're talking real smug.
I mean, I know what the game is called. I don't know any of the characters' names, so everyone else is gonna have to figure it out, and I'm not gonna drop what the game is called.
So you don't know who it is.
I don't know who it is, I just know what the game's called.
We'll see.
Uh-huh. Uh-oh, better.
I'm pretty confident that the character Snooze is drawing is from Jet Set Radio.
Oh, dang. Coco for Coco Picks is making some pretty bold predictions in the chat.
Feraligator2425 said, same.
That they are.
I'm looking.
But yes, so is Cube from Jet Set Radio correct?
Not.
Cube from Jet Set Radio is not correct?
It is a decent guess.
Dang. Thought for sure that would be right.
I have played Jet Set Radio Future,
Most
and
I can say.
I like it very much. In fact, it might be the first video game that I really resonated with.
Before.
So I think I was just a little too early to really be into the stuff that I was given first, because I had a Nintendo at some point, but I didn't really click with it. Though these days, like, yeah, I could.
See?
But I was at a friend's place, and he was like, I have this demo disc. Or I think he actually had Jet Set Radio Future as, like, a game. And I was like, this is really cool. I really like this. Kind of a bummer, because oftentimes when I see people refer to Jet Set Radio, they're referring to the first one. I'm like, no, my first one was the second one. They're like, yeah, Jet Set Radio fans, stand up, and it's like the first one. And I'm like, you. I mean, I'm sure it's good. In fact, I shouldn't say I'm sure, because I've played the first one, I just haven't beaten it.
Dropping lots of hints for people. I have a feeling that some of the people in chat didn't even know there was a second one. The race is back on. The answer was not Cube, so it's gotta be someone else. Let's take a look at yours while I'm not drawing. Wow, look at that ornamentation. That is so much detail in such a small amount of space. Absolutely incredible work, as always. But yeah, it sounds like you're not the only one, because Coco for Coco Picks is saying that they played Jet Set Radio Future as well.
For once, there's someone else that's like, yeah, I played it. And I'm like, yay, cool.
Heck yeah.
Coco for Cocopic said, the only other JS, a character I remember,
Man.
with blonde hair.
Boogie is cool.
Boogie.
I remember being in my playthrough and trying to get her. Because the character Boogie from Jet Set Radio Future, like, appears somewhere in, like, on, like, one of the maps, and you have to, like, you're on a timer to, like, skate up to her before she just leaves. You get to try again if you, like, leave and come back. But I remember I have memories of initially being there and trying to get in there, and then eventually getting up to her fast enough. I was like, yeah, you're cool.
So Coco for Coco Picks, is Boogie an official guess of yours, or are you just saying that she's pretty cool?
Coco for Cocopic said, she doesn't have a collar though.
Okay, so she doesn't have a collar, so I guess it can't be her, and that's not your guess then.
My only other guess would be Jazz.
Okay.
Feraligator2425 said, the character is clad in blue though.
Okay, we have one official guess, and that guess is Jazz. Is that correct, David?
I love Jazz. Jazz is not correct.
Dang.
Batius has white hair.
She's my
But
favorite.
not everything
And
is
you are
correct.
correct. Jazz, I do believe Jazz does wear blue lipstick, so it's definitely not a bad guess.
Jazz has blue lipstick.
She's my favorite character from, well, might have been my favorite character from Jet Set Radio Future. I think so. Cube is pretty cool, but I think Jazz, yeah, I think saying Jazz is my
She's not
favorite
blonde.
would be accurate.
And wears a neck scarf.
That's true. Jazz has white hair, and she's got that checkered scarf.
You'd think a collar with a zipper
Yes.
on it would be a fairly unique attribute that no other characters would have. I mean, I say that having no idea who it is.
So there's a Jet Set Radio sequel that's supposedly, well, it got announced, which to me doesn't mean too much. But I saw it and I was like, oh, now? I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I feel like we have a lot of weirdly late nostalgia baited sequels. I mean, like, we had Ghostbusters reboot, like multiple Ghostbusters reboots, and we had that Dumb and Dumber movie like 5 or 10 years ago. That was like 10 years after the initial one came out. And
What
there
a
was
good
also the
idea.
Bill and Ted movie.
Stream
People
Element
might have
said,
actually wanted
hey,
that one at
did you know
least.
that you can get way more draw time by subscribing on KO-Fi? Feraligator2425 said, Noise Tanks looks like a whole JoJo stand OMG.
Uh-huh.
Like for Alligator's comment about the
Coco
noise
Cuatro Coco
tanks.
Pig said, wait,
Man, I was affectionate to those guys.
are they even from
And
JSR?
I am wondering, do you want us to answer questions about the characters?
Only when it's time for hints. So let me see here.
Okay.
I think it's time for another hint. We're about at like 1 hour and 50 minutes in the stream. And I'm going to leave this to the chat. You all decide amongst yourselves what you want us to answer about the character. Choose wisely.
Hakaforka Kapik said, because my other guess would be Belle from Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
We have an official guess in the chat. David, is Belle from Bomb Rush Cyberpunk the correct answer?
It is. I was so confident that no one would guess, but Coco for Coco Picks has correctly guessed that it is Belle from Bomb Rush
Don Stony
Cyberpunk,
Gazer said,
No
the spiritual
way!
successor to Jet Set
that's
Radio
Shadow.
Future.
No way! They actually got it right! Heck yeah, you hear that? We have a winner!
So confident.
I was very confident like
We got
weeks ago that
we
it
got
would be
some real
Jet Set
pro
Radio.
gamers. We got some real pro gamers in the chat.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Okay, let me put that announcement in the channel.
At Zon Stony
Well, then
Gazer, no
you're
way.
awesome, Coco for Coco Picks. I only have it through Steam. You're the true
Shadow
you're
be
the true
smunkin'.
fan here. I loved
Coco
it.
for
I
Coco
thought it
Pig
was
said,
great.
Brah,
Yeah.
I have both JSR and BRC on disc.
Honestly, my biggest hope was
It hits a shady
people go,
skate
oh,
again.
well, I haven't heard of Bomber Cyberpunk, so is it Jet Set Radio? It's like, no.
Feraligator2425 said, doesn't mean you hate JSR though, David.
It's true. I do like it. I like Jet Set Radio Future a lot. I like Jet Set Radio. I like the whole thing. I held back before because I didn't want to make it too obvious. But when I saw that they had announced like a sequel to Jet Set Radio Future, I was like, oh, after Bomb Rush Cyberpunk totally nails it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it, but come on.
Though if I wasn't in
If
a
we're just going
L40 mood
around
I'd think the
remaking
creature you are
things.
drawing was a witch from Left 4 Dead.
Whoa, now that you mention it, it does kind of look like the witch. That's not the correct answer, but I totally see where you're coming from.
At least if the clothes weren't teased so
The
crazy.
design of the game is kind of blocky, like earlier Kingdom Hearts. So when you mentioned like Sora vibes drawing my thing, I was like, I feel that.
Okay, I was right on a couple of these things. It's completely wrong on the backpack. So this is what she actually looks like. And I think I got pretty close on several of the features. I also interpreted the hair very differently. Alright, so that was that. But remember, there's a whole nother character. If you guess this character correctly, you can still earn 5 minutes to your request on Friday. So if you can figure this character out, be sure to put your guesses in the chat.
Retroaddy said, is it the harpy enemy from Terraria?
It is not the harpy enemy from Terraria. Good guess, though. Anyway, so the hint for this character, I think the hint I need to give for this character is that David's initial suspicion that this character was from a horror game franchise is absolutely correct. She is absolutely from a horror game, but she is only from this horror game. She is not in any other horror games. I hope that helps. We'll give another hint in about 15 minutes. Not Dark Souls. Yeah.
Leaning more towards that, quite honestly.
So, what's driving me crazy,
Franchise that has
like,
real people, huh?
I have to show you something. Hold on. I think it's...
Retroaddy said,
Makes sense. Makes
shot
sense.
in the dark but Mother Miranda from Resident Evil Village?
Mother Miranda from Resident Evil Village. Let me see what she looks like. Is this tall, mommy? No, it's not. Wow. This lady is very scary and has a lot of similarities with this character. Wow. That is a really good guess. It's not the right character, but she actually has, like, so much in common with this character. That is a really good guess. What I'm showing on screen right now is Weaponsmith Ornifex, and I can't help but feel like this is absolutely a Dark Souls character, and I can't help but feel like the way David interpreted the character I gave him ended up looking a lot like Weaponsmith Ornifex from Dark Souls 2. And then he kept saying, oh, I think it's probably going to be a Dark Souls character. And I'm just like, so close. I was absolutely considering Ornifex. Like, I actually spent a lot of time considering maybe I should go with Ornifex instead. So I'm going to give a hint or two or three. So one thing I will say is that, she has a, great story about, being an artist and having a lot of controversial paintings and stuff, but it is fictional. She is a fictional character, did not actually exist in history. I don't want people, like, trying to research that. Then again, yes, I do. You absolutely should be looking up Chilean artists. But, I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say she's probably based off of, like, the closest, analog I could think of would be, like, Frida Kahlo. So let me give you a little bit of a life story, I guess. When she was young, her brother was kidnapped and presumably dispatched by the cartels. And she had a lot of guilt about that. And the day it happened, there was a black raven watching her. Throughout the rest of her life, she tended to paint crows and ravens and felt them watching her until one day the same cartel, the cartel that she spent her life using her art to stand up against, went to silence her, hence all of the battle damage. But the truth is, the crows were watching her all along because there was an entity watching her whole life, preparing her to become what she became later. A certain entity watching her. That should be a very big hint. Alright, it is time for the next hint. So the character's powers, the ink that's coming out of her arms, that weapon, it can hit people and cause them to be wounded. And if it hits them a second time, they are downed and on the ground and having to crawl around. Very sharp. It's made out of an inky looking paint. Let's see here. She also can summon giant ravens made out of paint. And these, like, ravens will, like, sit there until she presses the shoot button. And then those ravens will just go flying across the map. And if they hit anyone, the person they hit is going to be surrounded in a whole bunch of crows that will absolutely pester them and attack them. and prevent them from doing anything to stop her, and do all sorts of bad, terrible effects. Oh, right. And if the ravens fly past the big giant, I think they're called dire birds, fly past anyone, then she will get a supernatural sense that someone is there and her dire bird is flying past it. This looks so nice, by the way. Like, you're doing line work, and yet there's so much detailing here, and it is just so amazing. Thank you so much for coming on here today and showing us your detailing, just by the way. Just by the way, this is absolutely amazing, and it is always a treat to have you on here. And keep in mind, you can still guess the name of the character that David is drawing. Your last hint is that David has actually said this character's name several times during this stream and didn't
What?
note it.
Impossible.
Well, to be fair, in the game she's in, the characters go by monikers. Obviously, she has, like, a human name that she was born with, but, you know, once they become what they become, they have monikers. And David has said her moniker multiple times.
I don't know. Now you've weirded me out. Like, how could that possibly be true? I'm suspecting that you have played very dirty with meanings and things. You're like, see? I was like, oh, fine. If that's how you have to win.
All right, and we are at 3 minutes. We are out of time. Let's take a look at the final spot we ended on. I set the goal of getting my line work done this time, and I met that goal. I was really close to getting the flat colors done. I'm really disappointed that I didn't. Was so close.
Same.
Okay, the character was originally Carmina Mora, but after being brought into the fog by the entity, she became the killer known as the Artist from Dead by Daylight. Please tell me I'm not the only person who knows this character.
I don't know the character, but when you described the abilities, it did sound like some Dead by Daylight stuff. I didn't want to chip in at that point. So there's an artist character in Dead by Daylight that has crows? Alright.
Yeah, she painted crows, and she can, well, I mean, as you can see, her arms are made out of paint. So she can, like, create paint
Wait.
crows. You can't really see, like, the bird postures she does while she's, you know, chasing people and stuff in this pose, but rest assured she does, like, a bunch of them.
Oh.
Here's her summoning a dire crow, like I described. But yeah, very interesting and fun collaboration. Surprise, everyone, it was Dead by Daylight, the person who plays Dead by Daylight all the time. Chose a Dead by Daylight character.
Oh, do you?
Huh? Oh yeah, I totally play Dead by Daylight a lot, and I talk about it a lot on stream. Like every time someone comes onto stream talking about Dead by Daylight, there's always like some super controversial topic like that we all want to talk about because we're always upset at that game. We love that game and we hate that game. That's just how it is. It's just that kind of toxic game relationship. Thank you so much for coming on here today. Always a treat to have you on here.